Hi, this is Mix Inside with LSK, and I'm your host Kangilaki, also known as LSK from Pro Media Records. We always do this every Wednesday. We've got free classes on mixing, and then we tend to just talk about different types of mixing. But on this one, I'm continuing from where we left off in the first tutorial, part 1 on equalization, where I get to show you an overview of an equalizer, and we're still with the equalizer until we get to where we understand the full equalization concept, maybe to some extent reach on a better level together. So what I want to talk about today is just a few controls that you'll find on an equalizer every time there's a knob. The other things is just I won't be too much into these scientific detailing, but I'll just tell you on a basic platform where you get to understand what we are dealing with, even if you didn't do great mathematics at school. But you can understand, because at the end of the day you have to get to use your ears, and almost every one of us get to listen to music one or another at a different time. There's a type of music that we want to listen to, and that is determined by how the music is equalized, basically. So I'm going to talk about a few controls that you'll find on an equalizer. Like earlier on I had stated, these two are very important: the input and the output. And the other thing is and you might need to look for the high pass filter and the low pass filter, so that you get to see exactly how you deal with your lows and your highs, as in filtering them, whether you need them or you don't need them. And a basic notch on EQ is this point here that I'm pointing here. So the thing is, when I push it up, when I push it down, what I'm playing with is the gain knob here. You can see this is the gain knob, so always look for the gain knob every time you are on an equalizer like this one. You'll find the gain knob, and the next thing you would want to look for is a frequency at which that point is. So when I push it up like that, and when I start moving this fader here, this knob there, you can see the frequency is changing here, and then you get to choose the frequency at which you want. And these knobs have got a specific range that they are allowed to move. As you can see, this is 1000, then it goes as far as 40 Hz, and then this is 1K. So basically this is the frequency range that you are supposed to focus on also. If I go to the next one and check the frequency range, it goes as far as 8000 K. So you see the difference. This one reaches up to 120 Hz there, and goes as far as 8000 K. So basically 8000 Hz there. So basically what you are supposed to note is these knobs are very important. You might find them in a different setup. I'll be showing you how it looks like in Cubase, so not worry too much. So this is a basic concept on equalization, things that you have to look for in equalizing. So, and then the other thing is the bandwidth. This knob also helps us to just get to tune our things in a better way. As you can see, if I try to move the bandwidth to almost the center, it gets narrow, very narrow. So this one goes from the center to the other side, and you see you're increasing the width of the band there. So the principle is that when you do this, you affect most of the frequencies that it is ranging in, and then the most frequency affected is the one on the point here. So you get to understand the bandwidth. So from here you can pull it down with a small bandwidth, and then you get to play around. Or one tip that I can give is that every time you are trying to remove frequency that you don't like, use at least a very smallest bandwidth possible, so that you get to just notch out that frequency which is irritating. And every time you are trying to boost, try to boost with a little bit of a more wider bandwidth, like a amp like that. So, and from here, as we go as a build up, we'll talk about also analog equalizers that have been digitalized in some way, put in a software. Then we just get to talk about them, because these are some of the models that have come from analog gear and then into a software. So basically, this is how things that you have to note, and these knobs are all the same, but at different points working the different things. So this is like in the previous lecture I said, our low filter there, then our low mids, and then our mids, high mids, and then high filter there, our highs there. So basically, this is how you get to understand your bandwidth. And the other thing on the bandwidth, these ones with the low filter, there are two types of bandwidth that you can have. It's either a shelf or a amp like bandwidth there. So you get to choose. Then if you check how this is shaped, you see the difference. The other one is just like a shelf there. So basically, these are some of the things you get to check out. The importance of having a shelf, and then also having a amp like kind of a bandwidth, so that you get to have a very good mix as we continue with the equalization. So let's go to Cubase so that we get to see what we're talking about here. The reason why I'm trying to do different programs is I know most of you users, you use Cubase, so I'm just trying to also incorporate those who are getting started with Pro Tools also, so that you get to understand that the differences are very minimal at the end of the day, just different platforms. So the equalizer here in Pro Tools, I don't want the okay. The equalizer here in Cubase is the same as the one that you're just from seeing, but the difference is how they've just laid it out here. Let me just bring it back. How they've laid out everything here. So basically, you remember what we're talking about. It is gain, then these are the lows, gain, then frequency, then you've got your bandwidth here, or your Q factor. So the other name of bandwidth, you can call it a Q, so which is represented also by a Q later. So let's say I lift this band here, but I have to switch it on first. I have to make it active, and the point comes there. And then if I try to boost anything here, you can see right now here it is on a shelf, so I can change my presets there. It is on a shelf. This one has got a facility to give you different presets. Also here, where it becomes a parametric, like a amp, like you get it, like in the previous program. I showed you some of the changes that bandwidth in the low section does, and what a low shelf and a amp, like the importance of them as we continue with the lecture. So basically these are some of the things that you get to understand. The bandwidth here, if I try to make it more wider, then reduce the dBs there, and then the bandwidth is also calculated in dBs. So as you can see, I've got different presets, but the principle is all the same. So basically, as we continue, we'll be using one program, but for now I just wanted you to understand everything that that equalization is all about. Once you get to understand this, then lastly, I just want you to note that the frequency range on an equalizer is from 20 to 20k here, kilohertz. So 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz. Some they go even as far as 30 kilohertz. Those that they've tried to enhance a little bit more and more, because of trying to just reach out for a certain feel of a sound. So basically this is how it runs, and some also go as far as 30 dBs in terms of gains, and in terms of gain reduction or gaining in general. Going up, you can go further than this 24 dB. Let me just go back to Pro Tools so that you get to see also. If you see this one, the gain is up to 18 dBs and negative dB of gain reduction, and that other one in Cubase is up to 24 dB and negative 24 dBs. So basically the gains differ in different equalizations that you might find there. So but the principle always remains the same, is what you are looking for. I hope this build up has enlightened you things that you have to use on an equalizer. I know you might be wondering where is the output and the input of this EQ. This EQ, if you check the channel strip here, how it goes, then you get to find that this also gets the input from the insets here, because of how it is routed, or how it goes. So basically on this one it's a little bit different, but yes, still it has to have an input and then an output. But make sure that your equalization, when it gives you an opportunity to have those knobs, the input and the output, make sure that you get to have a better balance every time you're using an equalizer with such kind of arrangement. Thank you so much. This has been Mixing Side with LSK. Hope you get to watch the next video, because where we're going is where it gets more interesting and more and more enlightening. Thanks so much. This has been Mixing Side, and don't forget to subscribe from our YouTube channel below the subscription button there. then get to leave more comments and let me know some of the videos that you would love me to do for you, and then I get to do them for you, specifically for you. You can call me. My email address is kaingalaki@gmail.com. Thank you so much.